Okay, we got the MSUR N650, N350. We got Leonard Skinner, One More From the Road, Tuesday's Gone, a song that I heard so many times in my youth as my mother played it on a record player that when I heard the studio version for the first time years later, I was jarred because I had heard the live one only and for so long and so many times. The whole album. Love the album. Love it, love it. Just the image of the cover, like Pink Floyd, just washes waves of memories over me. Music to me, people, so you know why I like album art so much. Music to me is like a scrapbook. I never kept a scrapbook, but I don't look at pictures like that. Music makes pictures and videos start in my mind. When I listen to Dark Side of the Moon, a video starts to play, and it's a memory of my childhood, and it's stimulated by a song, and I recall moments, not pictures, videos, in my head based on the album that I'm listening to. So looking at the album art is like looking at a photo album, and listening to it is like starting the beginning of a video in my head. Does anybody else have that? Is that some kind of freaky thing? That's how I see it. That's how, it's not the same as music is colors. Music makes videos start in my brain. Very vivid, very real. The sunlight in the room on my face, the whole thing. It feels very, very real. So when I scroll through album art and I look at it, these, particularly the older albums like this Aerosmith one, the Eat a Peach by the Allman Brothers. This stuff brings back memories. AC/DC, Dirty Deeds, that was Nathan Remington's brother album, the first time that I ever saw it. It wasn't my mother, it was Nathan Remington's brother. I remember where that was, that album right there. Ghost in the Machine. That was Jeff Bertolette's house. That's the first time. This is coming at me as I'm thinking about it. I don't script my videos. See if I can find another one that's got a... AC/DC was the same. It was Nathan Remington's brother. Nirvana. First time I ever saw that was in a recycle shop, and it was a cassette version that I actually saw of that. Same with Public Enemy. Mother had BTO. First time I saw this album was a guy named James Chu. He had a car audio system which inspired me to make my own. And this was really popular at the time, especially for slamming in trunk systems. Every album is a memory for me. That's how my brain works. So let me get on with this, whatever, it's a review, I suppose. I suppose I would wreck this. I don't think I would wreck this. Which is, it goes to show about my thing, because the company that sent it to me, I think they're actually going to sell this, but they don't have this one. If I was being a good soldier, I would try to highlight this one, not this one. That's not the way it works. I'm not a good soldier. I'm a music lover. It plays good music or it doesn't. That's what I say. That's my value. So I can't play with my value, and I won't. I wouldn't wreck this. I would, depending on what you want. This is a possibility. It's got good sound. Why? Now, here's the thing. Let me take this out, even though it's very important, because I was puzzling over this. Because I estimated this in my head, that if this is the same company as this company, and this is Beryllium driver, and this is Beryllium driver, and they're sourcing their drivers from the same manufacturer, and I got a reflection through here, you can just see it from the light, and I thought, that looks like a 50. That doesn't look like a 40. I did bass head videos so much that I got really... You can look at a driver and know its size by looking at it. Now you see that driver? That's a 50. That's a 50 millimeter right there. I know that. I've seen it so many times. This driver right here, this much bigger one. See if I can get a good angle. You can't see it on the camera, sadly. Or maybe you can. These are the same size. These are 50 millimeter drivers. That's very important. I'm going to explain to you why. So we've got two drivers that are the same size. Take a look one more time, please. Let's stop the frame, do whatever you want. That's a 50, and that's a 50. This one said 50, I believe, but when I checked this, I don't know if it mentioned the size, so this was actually a got to take the pads off, which is really, really not a good option because putting them on is really, really hard. But I think I know why this doesn't sound as good as the smaller one. This has a bigger area behind the driver. Lawton Mods, Lawton Audio, if you're listening. Somebody said that he's blind and he listens to my videos. Thank you, bro, and this is for you. I'm going to ramble on. I hope you could catch the album art thing. I actually, if you are blind and you listen to music, I'm sure it stimulates emotions and thoughts in your head as it does mine. I can see with my eyes, but the visual of the album just is the initiator. But the playing of the music is what starts the video in my brain. I don't need the eyes. I like that. It's a pleasurable thing. But it's the audio that gets me going. So this is for you, bro. I'm going to ramble on a little bit. We got two of the same drivers that are probably, they're absolutely made by the same company, supplied to this same company. Could be made all by this one company right here. A Beryllium 50mm, a Beryllium 50mm. This one sounds veiled. This one doesn't sound veiled. Why is that? That is absolutely to do with the amount of space that the driver is in. It makes a lot of difference when drivers are put in the correct size enclosure or not put in the correct size enclosure. The difference between good headphone companies and not good headphone companies are the thought that goes into the tuning. You can measure a driver's frequency response fine, free air or whatever you want to do, but when you put it into the cup, it's going to change the sound because behind the driver, when you play sound, the driver makes it and it comes out, but some of the sound leaks towards the back, reflects off of the back area, and then comes out, and it creates a kind of chaos. And my proof of point is a company called Lawton. Lawton did modifications for Denon, maybe other companies, but I know they did it for Denon because Denon was having an issue, and the issue was based on the driver, not what was doing forward, but what was going back into the wood cups and then coming back out. It was creating a delayed, it's essentially what it is the sound that's coming off the driver and kind of going back is in a second or less coming back again. It's a reflection of the sound and it creates essentially distortion. And you would dampen that by dampening the reflection, actually, deaden it from coming back at you. And Lawton would take these expensive Denons and modify them so that they wouldn't have the deficiencies that the owners that loved them otherwise thought that they had. And that's what Lawton was doing. And Lawton was saying that what was happening was the sound that was coming behind the driver was and I know that that's true too because the same thing happens in audio. That's why you put material and stuffing behind some drivers, and sometimes you don't do that. It depends. Depends on the driver. Depends on the size of the enclosure. This is science, actual science. There are recommended volumes for drivers if the company knows what it's doing, and you can say, I want a bigger box in the back of my car. I want it to go. I want a custom. I want it to go from the interior wheel well. Hey. That's not what the company that built this driver said. Hey. And then some people will be like, okay. And they know that it's not going to hit as hard, the bass, the subwoofer, because you're not following the manufacturer's spec. So you're going rogue. I'm sure these companies are not doing what they're doing like some companies do, which is create a cavity or a situation behind the driver or the total package that makes the sound that comes off of the driver high quality without any distractions, that is based on what is essentially feedback, reflection. This set is a smaller volume. It's a smaller enclosure with a bigger driver. It's a 50mm, same as the bigger one. It doesn't have the issue that this has. Same driver. Both metal backings. What is the difference? The difference is the size of the space that the driver is occupying. So I guess what I'm saying is, in my long 9-minute thing here, is I would wreck this because this driver in this enclosure sounds correct. This sounds like a good headphone. The N350 sounds like a good headphone. If this had another company's logo on it and I heard it at a Japanese headphone shop, I wouldn't think anything of it. Wouldn't dawn on me at all. I would think of it for this set. It's got the same driver though. Only difference is the cavity. The Cascade by Campfire Audio had a very, very thin profile like this, and it had a very hard metal back, and it was tuned correctly. And I sent a mail to him and said, man, has that got something to do with it? Because I think it does. And he said, it's actually more than that, but that's a part of it. And of course it is, because it's acoustics and it's the way it works with headphones. And everybody that makes headphones knows that you've got to account for what's going to go behind the driver. If you've just got plastic back there, you're not going to do well. So let's review real quick. Music covers give me memories. I look at an album, I can tell you where I first saw it instantly. And I love it. I love that memory. That's why album art is important to me. That's why I got to have album art. People are like, well, who cares? You listen to music. It's like opening the door. There's the door, and touch it, and the door opens, and the video in your brain starts, and the happy memories of your childhood come back because you didn't have people lying to you and bullshit politics and all the drama that goes along with being an adult. It was just, you were a kid, and you listen to music on whatever ghetto sound design, whatever system you had as a kid. Didn't matter. Music was music. That's it. It's pure. I'm a music lover. I'm not a gear slut. I want to say that again. I'm not a gear slut. I'm a music lover. There's a difference. It's all about the music. This 50mm in this size shell sounds like it is doing well. It sounds like with this amount of space behind it, it is performing better than this likely same driver is performing in that size space. Proving the point that headphone manufacturers will tell you that it does make a difference. How much space, what is behind, is there any material, is it dampening material, deadening, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it needs it. Maybe you wanted to do something and take some of it out, depending on what you're trying to push down or pull up. It is a very, very important thing, and these two sets are a massive, great example of a company that makes a headphone. This one and that one. Same company. They source the drivers from the same company. That one. That one. Drivers are 50mm. That one. That one. Playing the same song off of Acetone Kern. They don't sound the same. This one sounds better than that one. Why? The difference is the size. Does that make a difference? Makes a huge difference. So the N350s are the first Chinese headphone that I've heard that I would say, somebody who is an audiophile and likes details, I haven't heard the ones that Zeos just reviewed. I've heard good things about them. I haven't heard them. I would wreck this. Do you need them in your life? I don't know. I don't think we need any of this stuff in our lives besides just the music. Like one thing to play it and one thing to listen to it. But all that aside, the build is nice. I actually like it. It's really soft. It's all metal. It's got a Beryllium driver. Bass is never going to be a problem with you. Whatever issue this might have would be easily corrected by EQ because Beryllium drivers, they respond well to EQ. And you're not handicapped because you're starting with something that's wrong. This size is great for this driver. This company. Whoever makes this driver, this is a good size. I don't know, the teardrop shape is quite appealing. The 650, it's too big. Or it needs more power, but I don't know. At this stage, we're using a regular DAP, and the SC100's a pretty good DAP. I would say that this is doing what a music lover would like, and the 650 isn't doing that. And it's just a simple design thing. That's it. It's not the driver. It's not a... It's a lack of consideration of the overall package. Maybe this was made first, the 350, and they started to build up and charge more money for bigger things, and they didn't take into account that taking the same driver and then just sticking it into another shell isn't going to sound the same. Never does. Take your speakers in your house in the box that they came in from the manufacturer, slap them in your bigger box because you want a bigger one. They're probably going to sound different. Doesn't matter if they're home speakers, doesn't matter if they're car speakers, doesn't matter if they're headphones. The enclosure makes a difference, and this is an awesome case in point. So I would say the MSUR N350s would be a set that I would rec. If you want to try out Chinese headphones and see what is a good set right now, the 650s I would not rec. So ghetto. I talked about my love for music and albums more than I did the headphones. There's three parts of the frequency. There's the bass, there's people break it into sub-bass, and there's the bass, there's the mids, there's the treble. This does all three fine. This does all of them behind seemingly a slight veil. That's the summary of what these two things do. Music listened to, you're looking at it. You're always looking at it, because I'm always looking at it before I click the button and go into a memory. Memory initiated. That's what the music does. Does anybody else get that? You listen to a song, and I know people obviously do that, but it's like an automatic thing. I listen to certain music, and it's like I'm going back in time on purpose. Like I want to go back to when I was, 8 years old. That's what's going to happen when I listen to Jay Giles' Monkey Island. I don't know if anybody knows who the hell that is. That's what's going to happen if I listen to that. If I listen to Dark Side of the Moon, I'm going back to, from 5 to 10 years old. It's a time machine. Music is like a time machine. This is a better time machine vehicle, the 350s, than that 650. I like that. That's a good way to end the video. I'm out.